Sustainable community has long been a nebulous term. Community for most human existence involved interdependencies for survival through sharing according to their abilities that created emotional bonding between members. Everyone knew how to organize, and it was in their best interest to help when they could, be it entertainment, group labor such as barn raising, or sharing food to ensure if someone failed to find food that day, someone else always had your back. Community was both an insurance policy and a big family. For most of human history, everything was shared immediately to prevent anything from going to waste as preservation was in its infancy. With the advent of the agrarian age, storage became possible and there became hierarchies in the community based on who had the most stuff. However, they were still interdependent on their community, so they still had to be involved, even if they had less say just to survive. As inequalities got more extreme, you got nobility and other forms of rule over others. The return to democracy and having something of a say came directly from hunter-gatherers, as Thomas Paine discussed in his tract Common Sense. It wasn't a full democracy, but it was closer than with kings and lords. It wasn't until around 75 years ago that community began to become further and further nebulous. Thanks to the neoliberal atomized individuality, you could now get everything yourself at a price if you worked in the right job for the right employer. Food, labor, and entertainment could all be provided by money. Community was now just people you got together with for a common interest or a common goal. However, because it was not required for survival anymore, ones with hierarchies became less and less sustainable. Religions have community with hierarchy because they believe their main focus of veneration is worth following, and because they believe the people in the hierarchy speak for the gods or prophets. In many cases, not following the hierarchy can have a survival mechanism, such as fear of hell, to keep them in community with a hierarchy. However, if the focus is based on an idea or activity with hierarchy, the community isn't usually stable and people will drift away over time. Also, if it only serves one purpose and isn't multifaceted, people may lose interest in that one thing, or a need might be met and they no longer need it. These non-sustainable communities should be referred to as interest groups and not true communities, but many of us that grew up without a sustainable community believe that's what it was. Many grew up in toxic communities and want nothing to do with community, throwing the baby out with the bathwater because they didn't understand what made communities toxic: hierarchies. Hunter-gatherers all knew how to take care of themselves, so they would often leave and rearrange their communities if they needed or wanted. This prevented hierarchies and everyone had a say. Now that we no longer require community for survival, we are closer to the motivations for community that match our ancient ancestors. This requires equal voice and equal participation, giving both a sense of ownership, a way to create change in a community if you want it to be different, and a stake in the community. The modern ability to survive without community is directly tied to mechanization and consumerism, which always relies on exploitation of the planet. Buying truly sustainable and ethical products in corporate capitalism is very expensive, and most of the best paid jobs exist to be able to better extract from the planet or workers, while the rest of us have to pay for it in labor, healthcare costs, and unhealthy lifestyles and mental health. Just because we no longer need to have community to survive, because we replace community with money, there is a serious loneliness pandemic, because we are still wired to be social animals. Older people are dying alone, and many adults have no clue how to make new friends beyond dating. There is a serious need that is lacking in society, but not enough survival needs to overcome our own fear or aversion to socializing, most often caused by our hectic, exhausting work life and constant social media consumption and doom scrolling. Poorer, exploited nations require community, which is why many still have them and know how to make them work without egos getting in the way. One's ego is one of the biggest killers of community, and it's very important to always keep yours in check. Luckily, there are tricks in terms of organizing decision-making with thousands of years of history to get around people's egos if followed properly. You just have to practice at it, and assume everyone wants the best for the community, even if they disagree on how. So what is community? Community is a collection of people with multifaceted mutual interests who rely on each other and give equal effort to provide, be it human interactions, mutual aid, or entertainment. Sustainable community is a community held together by either feelings of ownership and say, or feelings of survival. A community based on survival can be sustainable with a hierarchy. Ones not based on survival will collapse and die. In the modern age, a sustainable community must involve equal participation, equal ownership, and equal say to create equal effort. Now that this is defined, let's start your community. Sustainable community is the only way we will survive climate change and be a political force to save our planet from cyberpunk villains we currently have who are so power hungry they don't care if they destroy the planet. Without sustainable community, Solarpunk is just the stuff of fantasy. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. If you wish to be a part of this project, want to create a logo for us, or want your Solarpunk art displayed discussing any of our main points of focus, please send everything to solarpunkusa@proton.me. There is also a Patreon link for my main channel if you like what I'm doing. For the first section involving community building, this channel will be run directly by myself. After that point, I hope to make this a collaborative project with many people involved, including voice, information, and editing, to make this a robust channel that can spread and grow.